Good morning, everyone. Just a short, quick word. This morning, as I was lying on bed, I didn't even get up from my bed, but I heard this word: "Do not be anxious about anything." It's a very common, simple word which usually people send in Christian circles to people who are worried, who are in problems or who are in trouble. It's in Philippians 4:6. If you read Philippians 4:7-8, it'll tell you the reason why you should not be anxious. But though it's simple, it hit me profoundly today. So I lied down on the bed. I didn't open my eyes and started to meditate on this. He's telling, do not be anxious about anything. Don't be anxious about anything. The very fact that he's saying that don't be anxious means that there are situations that are making you anxious. There are no situations that are making you anxious, then there is no point in telling do not be anxious. He's telling a Christian, a person who was born again, the person who is a son of God, should not be anxious about anything in life. So that doesn't mean that there aren't situations that are causing anxiety. So I thought I'd meditate on this, and then when I was meditating on this word anxious, the root word is anxiety. It's a very popular term which people use in mental health circles. So then I was understanding, why will a person have anxiety? Anxiety comes sometimes because of your circumstances, sometimes because of your thoughts. Let me explain to you. Anxiety is generally the result of an imagination. Or let me put it this way: anxiety is when the end result of your imagination is not matching with what you want in life, then the anxiety begins. To put it more simple, imagine you are in your workplace and someone came and told you, "Arey bhai, they are sacking everyone, and they have already sacked 100 people." So then what happens? That simple word has triggered a thought in you. And then immediately your mind is imagining that probably they're coming after you and you'll be sacked. And what if you're sacked? What about your EMI? What about your food? What about your family? What about your future? What company you're got to be moving to next? Or which hospital you need to work, or what job you need to do. So just that simple word or thought has created anxiety. How did it create anxiety? It just didn't create anxiety like that. It triggered an imagination in you. The response of that imagination, the end result of that imagination, is you becoming jobless. And you becoming jobless, and you started to imagine how hard your life has become. So which means the end result of your imagination, triggered by a thought or a word, has resulted in anxiety. Very, very common. So what do we do? First of all, that's why you have to be very cautious about what thoughts and what words you entertain. So generally, what I'm trying to do these days, if there is a circumstance or if it's a situation or a word that brings in anxiety, I stop it at the thought level and I don't let it bring it to the imagination level. So what I do is I'll go to the word, and I look at what the Word of God is saying, and I'll try to imagine the Word of God over the situation. And what I would be imagining is, even though they sack me, God is my source. So you understand the line of thinking, right? So when you try to imagine the Word of God, when you try to imagine the end result, or the outcome of your imagination should always match with the Word of God, what Word of God is saying, then I don't think there will be a scope for anxiety. If you keep on reading 7-8 verses, it says, "Do not submit your requests to God with thanksgiving," which means, so I'm closing it here, but there's a word I think you all need to meditate on. Do not be anxious about anything in life. Not that, again I say, not that there aren't situations that don't make you anxious, but most of the anxiety is related to your future. It's not related to your past. If you analyze that, you're always thinking that, oh, this can go bad, this can go bad, this can go bad. If something can happen in the future that doesn't match with what I want, or my life can become worse. So if you give your future into the hands of God and imagine the promises of God and word of God over your life, I'm telling you, there is no chance for anxiety. And when there is no anxiety, you're allowing the Spirit of God to work through you. The Spirit of God cannot work when you are anxious. The Spirit of God cannot, you will not be hearing the voice of God when there is anxiety. So today I would say, choose a decision, make a decision, choose today not to be anxious, and read the 7 and 8 verses today, Philippians 4, 6, 7, 8, where he says that a peace that surpasses all understanding would guard our hearts and minds. And only we got to live in such an environment, a personal environment of peace, in an atmosphere of peace, love, and joy. And that doesn't happen automatically. That is a conscious decision you make every day because you have God with you. Anxiety comes when you negate God out of the equation. Anxiety comes when you take away God out of your future. Anxiety comes when you don't have a relationship with the source of where you are, a relationship with the source. Many people today now don't call us God, they say the source. That's okay. The source of everything, the uncreated one, the immortal one, the invisible one, who is eternal, who is the reason for our living and being. And only if you don't have a connection with him, with the person of God, with the Spirit of God, and obviously anxiety will come. And in an environment of anxiety, you can never, you're not allowing God to work in life. So today, if you are really anxious, I encourage you, whatever it is, anxiety is related mostly to the future, not to your past. Okay, it's only related to your future. What can happen? What bad can happen? What worse can happen? Submit your future into God's hands. And I felt that this is profound, and I believe that it's God who spoke to me, because I was anxious about, sometimes you're anxious about so many things. Today I encourage you to live in an atmosphere of love, joy, and peace, and let that be a conscious decision. Take care.